I'm so excited to bring to you today the tutorial that I've promised for months and months, showing you how to use the Caromal Colours, the Country Living paints, where it creates really cool texture. So finally, I'm doing this for you. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you end up using this technique in some of your little, paddles, or, I mean, my whole display for Nashville, if you go back and look at my Nashville recap and I show my display and stuff, that entire display with those shutters were done with this paint, with this huge, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 or 5 step process. It was a family affair. The whole family chipped in and we got it done. But it's intense, but the results are so cool that it's definitely worth the effort. So I hope you enjoy. Hey guys, I told you months and months ago, possibly even 8 to 9 months ago, that I would do a tutorial for you with the Country Living Caromal Colours textured grungy paint. These paddles, my friend, her nephew made these paddles for me. Hold please. I use these paddles for finishing for my punch needle and cross stitch. I sell them in my Etsy shop. I had an order for a white one with a light blue undercoat, and evidently I used it for finishing for myself and forgot to take it off Etsy. So this lady bought one and I don't even have one. So I thought, well, I have to paint one for her. I may as well do the tutorial for you while I paint hers. Okay, Country Living Artisan's Collection Decorative Finishes by Caromal Colours. This is Colonial Blue Texture Base Coat. I will have links in the description box below where you can purchase these products. They are expensive, but look at how huge that is. I think you can get a smaller one. Pretty sure. I don't know. I've had these for a long time. They are not your typical paint. As you can see, it's very, very thick. But that's what we want because we're creating texture. You buy these cheapy brushes at any hardware store, a dime a dozen, and you just glob this paint on. You want peaks and valleys, so that's all good. I'm going to leave my handle for last so that I can get the edges real good. I don't paint the back with the Caromal Colours because that's just a waste of paint and a waste of time. When I'm finished, I will paint the back of it though with black paint, because you want the whole thing sealed with paint so that it doesn't warp or retain moisture. So see the peaks and valleys? That's what you want. And you want really good coverage. And working on a piece this small, this doesn't take that long. I would like to do my kitchen cupboards, redo them with this paint, but it would be a huge endeavor, and I thought, well, if I just did, say, oh, okay, I'm gonna do a cupboard, one cupboard or 2 cupboards every weekend. After a while, I'd have it done. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. I am going to use something to rest this on so that I can get these last bits here. And then just go back in and do that spot where my finger was. So now I gotta let this dry. As you can see, it's very thick. Therefore, it will take a long time to dry. So I probably won't come back to this. I'm just kind of going around it now and making sure I have everything covered on my first coat here. Okay, move that aside a little bit. Now I'm just gonna go, I do this and get rid of all that excess paint. Paint cleans up with soap and water. Put your lid back on. Now what I've noticed with these paints is you want to make sure that the screw on part of this lid doesn't have paint on it, because otherwise it makes it hard to open that next time. So then just put your lid back on. Oh shoot. Yes, put your lid back on. Oh my Lord. Put your lid back on. I can see it's not on there straight. These paints will dry out if you don't have this sealed correctly. And what I do, because I've had them dry out and they're expensive and I don't want to waste them, because I don't use them all the time. If I used them, you know, 3-4 times a week, I wouldn't have to do this. But I just put a rubber band and some saran wrap on there just to seal it a little bit better, make sure no air can get in there, because I don't want to waste those. So I'm going to let that blue dry, probably overnight or late tonight. I think I'm going to wait till tomorrow. And then I'll come back tomorrow, do the exact same thing with this parchment. I will do the exact same thing, let that dry overnight, and then you do the sanding and the staining and you're done. Okay, but it's going to take a while to dry, so I won't bore you with that. We will see you tomorrow. We are back. I have to mix this paint up a little bit. We're back. Our blue dried overnight. Now I'm adding the white in the same fashion that I added the blue. Just dabbing it on, making sure to put it on nice and thick. Doesn't that look almost like cake frosting? I'm more of a savory person than a sweet person, but I haven't had sweets in so long that, oh man, something sweet sounds really good. And again, I'm just going to set that on top of something to hold it. Put my finger in the center to hold it in place. Finish gooping this on. And we're done. Well, we're not done, but we're done putting the white paint on. So now I gotta let that dry overnight. Then I will be sanding it and putting on the toner, and it will be done. Now I gotta paint the back of it black too, just to give it a finished look, but then it will be done, so stay tuned. As you can see, my paddle is nice and dry. Look at all those peaks and valleys. Ooh, I love it. So now what I'm gonna do is use a palm sander. I'm not gonna show that on the video because I don't want the dust and all that in my studio. So this is a tool that I think every artist needs. Eventually you're gonna need to sand something. So a palm sander is a good investment. I get the one with a little dust catcher. But basically you're just gonna sand it so that some of that blue underpainting shows through. I'm gonna sand, like I've got some major goopy edges here, and I'm going to sand that so that that's nice and flat. After I'm done sanding, I'll probably paint the back of it black. Let that dry, and then we'll put the toner on. So we'll be back to do those things. You know how when you're doing laundry, and especially when you're washing socks, and you go to pair up your socks, and you just never, I mean, I probably could count on one hand the amount of times I had matching socks for a whole load of laundry. It just doesn't happen. So this is what I do with those random, stupid little lonely socks. They have another purpose. I turn them into rags. So I'm using the Caromal Colours toner. I would lean this so that you could see the front, but I don't want to spill it. So I just dip my random little lonely sock in there. And I want to cover this. You want to get down in all those little nooks and crannies. So you kind of put it on thick. I should have 2 gloves on actually, but I don't mind getting paint on my hands, but brown, this brown toner, not a good look. I'm not going to show that part because that would be boring. Just going to put a coat of black on the back, or even just a white, off-white that would match the front, whatever. The back doesn't get seen. Long as it doesn't get seen, won't be seen. As long as it's painted, it really doesn't matter. I just want a nice finished product. Okay, so you kind of got to put a lot on in order to get down in those little nooks and crannies. And then once that's done, you take another rag and you rub the excess toner off. Oh, I just love this look. I wanted so bad to do my cupboards in my kitchen with this. I'm not saying I'm not going to, but it's a lot of work. It's, you know, you saw how many layers you had to put on. So I'm either going to do this or I'm going to do the chalk/clay paints that my friend Kristen is selling. She became a retailer for a company, Bungalow 47, and I'm either going to do that or this process. One of the two. Okay, we are done. Let me get this glove off. I'll do a close-up view. I also will put the lid on this and show you this label so that you can see. You can screenshot it if you want to. This is what I love to use because there's no odor. It's not a stain, and it just seals it really nicely. And look how big that jar is, 32 ounces. Okay, this is my finished product other than the back not being painted. I will do that, but like I said, I'm not going to show you that because that's boring. But look at the texture that it creates. It's super prim. I love it. So I sanded it enough so that the blue that I painted on first shows through. You don't want to sand it too hard because then you get down to the wood. I did that a little bit here and a little bit there, but even that looks good. So there you have it. I promised you I would do a tutorial for this, and I feel so good having that done because it's been on my mind for months. So anyways, I will have links in the description box below where you can purchase these paints. Give it a try, and I hope you like it. Thanks everyone for being here. Peace out.